Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I found a lot of my old notebooks and scrapbooks of things that I've drawn and ideas that I've kept for projects over the years. So last year I made a wooden puzzle cube with separate pieces. You put them together and they make a 3D cube. And I thought it'd be a brilliant idea to make it out of the HDPE. I thought it'd be quite nice. So I'm going to give that a go today. I'm going to create a mould that's going to give us a flat, solid piece of HDPE that we can then use a bit like it's wooden. So we can use it, can run it through the table saw, run it through the bandsaw, cut it with a handsaw. The possibilities of what you can do with it are just down to the tools that you have at home or in your own workshop. So what I'm going to do today can be done with a handsaw, but I am going to use a bandsaw just because it's going to be quicker. I think originally when I made the wooden cube I made it on the CNC, but I think obviously not everybody has a CNC at home, so I want to do this and make it as user friendly as possible so anybody who's watching this can give it a go themselves. So let's get cracking. So here is the design. Obviously the size of this will vary depending on how thick the material you're going to use. So if we was doing 1 inch thick material, each of these squares would be 1 inch. So that line there, for instance, would be 2 inches by 1 inches by 2 inches by 1, and obviously you now get the drift. Before I figure out how long my lines are going to be, I'm going to have to design the mould and make sure that I can get a full solid blank out of the HDPE that I've got. So I've got this mould sorted now, and it's one solid piece on the bottom with several strips screwed into it, and the thickness of these bits is roughly 15mm. As I'm aiming for anywhere around about 12mm in thickness for this to work. So I've got the panini press heated up. So we've got some white, black, yellow, a little bit of this purple, violet-y kind of colour, which is really nice. And then I've got a whole lot of the milk bottle, transparent white kind of colour. So I think we're going to have plenty to be able to do this. I do want it quite colourful, but at the same time, I think I'm going to have to use quite a lot of this to be able to fill in the gap. Kind of trial and error. I don't have a measurement for how much I'm going to require. So we've got the transparent sort of white colour in there, got a bit of yellow, bit of the violet-y, purpley colour, and then we'll chuck in a bit of the black. I'm going to leave that for a couple of minutes in there, see how we get on. It's going to be quite a small puzzle cube from this. It's quite cold today in the workshop, which is nice to have this running because it gives a little bit of heat off. Don't forget about your cup of coffee, that's always a main thing when you're in the workshop. Yeah, so I've marked this on here, which this is going to be what I push down. This is like the plate that I'm going to use to push down, and I'm hoping that it's going to give us quite a nice solid flat surface. So I've made a puzzle cube in the past before, took it to work with me, left it in the break room, and I got quite a lot of good feedback from it. Lots of people really enjoyed using it. I think I made it out of MDF. So this one I'm going to make out of the plastic. Obviously it then means that it can be cleaned, and I'm hoping that it's going to last a damn sight longer than the MDF did. So yeah, it's quite a simple puzzle cube, as I say. The one that's going to come out of this is going to be quite small because this isn't that deep, but I'm thinking it's going to be quite cool. It should be, you know, hopefully a fair size that you can see what you're doing. So yeah, I'm going to get this open now. Some of it's starting to look quite melted and then some of it's not. So, put it all rolled up in a bowl. Can't rip the paper, I need it. Don't have any spare. This was literally the very last piece of greaseproof paper that we had. Most likely I reckon I'm going to need some more. I can't see that being enough. So let's go with a bit of white this time. Bit of black. Some yellow. They call me mellow yellow. And I quite like this violet. Maybe I'll just go with all the colours. If there's anything that you can think of that you'd like to see me make out of HDPE within reason, don't think I could make the Taj Mahal out of HDPE. Don't know if I even said that right. But you know, anything that you think that, oh, I'd like to see that potentially made out of HDPE, try and give it a go. So after everything's all blown over with this COVID-19, I am going to go door to door and just hand out a little leaflet in my little cul-de-sac. And it's just going to be to see if anyone is willing to collect some HDPE for me. But just on the days where there's recycling being collected, if they put the HDPE or just all of the plastics, they might not know what they're looking for, all of the plastics into a separate bag, leave them outside, and then I'll go through the bag. Anything that's HDPE I'll keep, anything that's not I'll put out for when the recycling wagon comes. Right, so this has been sat in here now for probably a good 10 minutes. Did put quite a lot in it, but I think that we should have enough now. Right, so now that we've tucked it up, it's been sat in there for a little while. That's the magic tap. You gotta do that. It's hot, hot, hot. Do 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 do. Well, that's roughly even all the way around. It's as good as I'm going to get it with these. Alright guys, so I just demoulded this. This is what we have. Now, I'm going to run this along the table saw and just cut off all the edges. I'm going to have a uniform piece, this nice and square, and then we can start marking up the patterns and individual pieces onto there ready to be cut out on the bandsaw. So I'm just going to take this over to the table saw, cut all the edges off, and I'll be back in a moment. Right then, so I'm going to measure how thick this is, because then that determines how big each piece will be. Right, so I've took a look at this and I've measured it out, and this side is 9mm and all these three are 10mm. Unfortunately, we have to go with the thinnest side, so we're going to make each of the pieces on the design 9mm thick, and then that means that each of the squares has to be 9mm by 9mm as well. So it's going to work out that each square is 9mm by 9mm by 9mm thick. I'm going to get the pieces cut out of this, all 6 pieces. I'm then going to work individually on each of those pieces rather than trying to draw it out on one big slab. I think that's going to be a bit easier. Right, so that's just got the 6 pieces. So I'm just taking down the edges, taking all the fluffy bits off, just makes it that little bit easier to work with. It's just a case of scraping along that edge, picking off all the fluff. Right, so we've got our pieces. We now need to somehow draw this onto these. So yeah, thinking caps. 9.02mm. That's close enough. Right, so I need to make a mark coming inwards. And this is a bit of trial and error. I've not done this before, so that's going to be that piece. So then we need one along the bottom. I think, to be honest, cutting these up into squares is going to be the best option. So in fact, I'm going to do this one on the bottom because it's a little bit neater. Yeah, so I know what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to go along. I'm going to mark each of them 9mm. That's 9 across there, 9 across here. And I'm going to try something actually, so we can see these lines a bit better. If I colour this in, so I'm just seeing if it will scratch the permanent marker out, so then we can see the lines a little bit better. Which, kind of, not the effect I was hoping for though. So now that's 9mm, I'm now going to take this up to 18mm. So then again, so this is the same bottom corner, so we've got a line there and a line there. So I'm going to do the same again, coming 18mm. I'm just going to break it up into squares, it's going to make it easier. So then 9, 18, so if you know your 9 times tables, you know what measurement's coming next. 27, or as close as 27.03. Same again, yep. And then 4 times 9 is 36. 35.99. Right, so we're all marked up. So I'm not too sure if you can see this. You might be able to see it best on this one. And as you can see, they're cut up into 9mm squares. So now, just taking each one, I'm just going to copy the design and just colour in the piece that I don't want. So in this case, it's not the first one, but the second one. So I don't want that piece. Then after that, I want the third one, but I don't want the fourth one. And the one above that I also don't want, so that's those two gone. And I'll even colour in the excess to get rid of that. So I want rid of all that. Then so we keep the first two and then create like a set of stairs. So that one's gone, that one's gone, that one's gone. So that should be 2, move over to 3 and 1. Yep. Right, so I'm going to get these over to the bandsaw. I'll take you over there with me for these ones. And we'll get these cut up. Right, so I've added in this piece of MDF to give me more of a zero clearance. Yeah, just be extremely careful and see how we get on. So that's one of the pieces done. Camera cut off part way through that, so you didn't get to see it all. But the result of it is actually really, really good. I'm happy with it. You might see my hands go quite close to grab pieces to move them out of the way. I am being extremely careful with this. If I do need to go really close to the teeth of the blade, then I'm turning the blade off. So obviously it's going to be sped up, and I'm not going to show you this the whole time because it's going to take me a little while. I'm being extremely slow and extremely careful. Woohoo! So that is all of the pieces finished. Right, so we're back over by the workbench. We have the pieces all here. Stick on this paper so we can see them a bit better. I'm happy with them. Really, really happy with them. Right, so I'm just trying a few different ways of tidying the bits up. Just scraping some of the little pieces that are sort of hanging off of it using a Stanley blade. I'm also using some sandpaper just to sand down any bumps so that then it all goes together properly. So it's just a bit of a long process, just going along, taking off any parts that shouldn't be on it. And yeah, seems to be working pretty well. So that one's almost there, but I think this one's a little bit too big. So got this little block, using it like it's a little right angle, and just sanding any parts that aren't lining up right. So once it's together, I can sand all the outer edges and get it all nice and neat and tidy, and a bit of a slow, tedious process. So I'm not going to record it. I'll come back in a little while, show you how I'm getting on, because this is going to take quite some time. So, okie doke. So, that there is the finished cube. Obviously this all comes apart. It's quite tight actually, which I'm happy with. Didn't know if it would be loose, and obviously this all comes apart into pieces, and that's all part of the puzzle. Got to work out how it goes. I'm actually not sure. I was hoping that as I took it apart then that I might have seen how. So yeah, I'm going to try and put this together so you can see it. Not even know how to do it myself. That one into there, that one into there, that one into there. No, that's not right, because I know that piece ain't going to go together. Right, so let's have another go. This one here, no. This maybe would help if I even knew how to do it myself. So I think that one and that one. This one, there, and there. I'll go there. Obviously once you get the first few pieces in, it's not too difficult. So obviously this has turned out amazing. I'm so happy with the final result of this. So many times throughout doing this I didn't think it was going to go well. As you can see, it works, it does what I wanted it to do. Looks fantastic. You know, I wish that purple would come out a little bit more. So I think there's one piece there and that's it. A couple of little bits here and there. So obviously it would have been a lot better if that purple came out a bit more, and I would have been a bit happier with that. But overall, the end result of this, I'm very pleased with. So don't forget guys, you want to see some more stuff that I make, like, subscribe, ring that little bell so then you get notified for when I make more videos. Leave me a comment in the videos. I tend to not get too many comments. I want to see what you think. I want to see, you know, are you liking the videos? Do you think they're a bit slow, a bit too fast, too much detail? Just let me know, whatever you think. I need some feedback so I know where I'm going with this. Do you like the projects? Do you like the HDPE things that are being made? Just anything. Let me know what you think. Come check us out next time and see what's being made. The next project I've got planned, I'm hoping if it works out, it's going to be amazing, guys. So hopefully I'll see you again next time. Thank you.